It's over now. The Lord of the Rings trilogy has come to an end. I'm glad to be here, at the end of all things.
How do you pick up the threads of an old trilogy? How do you act when in your heart you begin to understand there's no going back?
Hey, what the hell? Didn't the narration start with me?
Yeah, but there's so much going on, people won't remember who started it.
Well, I know who's ending it. Me. Piss off.
But that's the thing, critic. These are the endings.
What do you mean, these?
Lord of the Rings had 1,000,000 endings, so we should have 1,000,000 endings.
Yeah, everybody must know the outcome of every person that's ever had screen time in these reviews.
It occurred to me I never had a scene where I moved in slow-mo in the forest, like an angelic screensaver.
I suddenly realized I didn't file my taxes. So many questions. Does my goldfish count as a dependent?
It came to our knowledge that we hadn't gotten married yet.
The chart says this is the most cost-effective way to work it into a review.
I wonder why they put me in these endings if I wasn't even in the original reviews.
Enough! Everybody knows this movie's endings go on way too long.
Yet somehow it didn't ruin the movie.
Everyone says the ending is the most important, yet this film is still regarded as a classic.
Nominated for almost as many Oscars as Emilia Perez. God, that feels so wrong.
Because it is wrong.
So wrong.
Penis to vagina.
I guess that does make you realize what impact this movie had on people, even with an ending that's far from perfect. Return of the King became the... Oh, hold on. There we go. Return of the King became the film everybody had to see. The cast and crew were building up. This was the best of all of them, and at the time, it was hard for people to believe. Two Towers won so many over on so many different levels, it didn't seem possible to top. But as you probably guessed, this not only met the hype, but it surpassed it. When fans would say Lord of the Rings is unfilmable, this is the portion they're usually thinking of. Giant ghost armies, giant spiders, giant elephants. Even as far as special effects had come, nobody thought this could be done on the same scale as the books without eventually looking like Joshua and the Promised Land. But not only did we get effects that for over 20 years old still look pretty damn amazing, but the wrapping up of one of the most expensive trilogies of all time actually followed through on still giving us a heartfelt and emotional conclusion. Even if there were about 20 of them. Clocking in at almost 3.5 hours, the longest in the series, that was already pretty long. People constantly mock its length and too many endings, yet still praise it as one of cinema's most impressive achievements. So, what is it about this conclusion that won everybody over even when it didn't win everybody over? Well, let's take a closer look. The rest of you, continue to end.
Man to woman or woman to man.
No, Malcolm! Don't give in!
But it's so cringy!
Don't worry, this review will give you your fix.
Nice. Let's take a look at The Return of the King. So we go from the most epic openings of all time to a tiny worm, which is also the title for one of the producer's biographies, as we get a flashback to Smeagol and Deagle finding the One Ring while fishing.
Go on, put it on!
It's nice to see Circus showing his real face in one of these movies, though I don't know what to think of him going in and out of the Gollum voice.
Precious.
I just assume he sounded like that because he's been around for hundreds of years, but no, he's always sounded like a squeaky balloon with asthma. He kills Deagle for the ring, and while the transformation over the years is wonderfully done, it is weird it's not a flashback or a dream Gollum is having. Like Gandalf falling in Two Towers, yes, is a flashback, but it's a dream the main character is having. It's still part of the narrative, even if very loosely. This just comes out of nowhere and then cuts back to the story. If you were watching these back-to-back like one long film, it wouldn't really make sense. It'd be like if the movie was interrupted to suddenly show us how Legolas figured out how to skate shield. Neat, but could tie into the storytelling a little better. As Sam and Frodo continue their journey, Aragorn and his team approach the now-destroyed Isengard.
The salted pork is particularly good. Salted pork.
And this is the film where Gimli's handled the best. On that note, don't let him and Treebeard talk. Might sound kind of weird.
There, Saruman must remain.
Let's just have his head and be done with it.
No, he's no power anymore.
I mean, what's he really done when you think about it? Again, I've gone on and on about how cutting Saruman from the film was a huge mistake. I mean, what, everybody and their pumpkins gets a conclusion, yet one of your main villains isn't even allowed in the flick? You're 10 minutes in. People aren't gonna get restless yet.
This my bark.
Pippin discovers a device Saruman has been using to talk to Sauron called the Palantir, and they return to Rohan to hopefully fix the backwards chimneys.
Are you mad? I just want to look at it.
Pippin wants to see the shiny Palantir again, which, seeing how in the extended edition they show they smoked barrels of weed beforehand, that's not very surprising. But unfortunately, Sauron is on call waiting.
Saruman, when did you turn into a mini Eric Idol?
Pippin!
Stop trying to make frame drops a thing. It'll never be a thing! Pippin says he saw a vision of a burning white tree, which Gandalf knows is a sign Gondor is about to be attacked. He says Rohan should help, but Theoden is hesitant.
Tell me, why should we ride to the aid of those who did not come to ours?
Hey, don't do too much of the political talk or we'll become Game of Thrones, and I don't like what they could do with the brother and sister duo over there. Gandalf takes Pippin to Gondor, to the city of Minas Tirith, because Sauron now thinks he might have the ring. Meanwhile, the virgin Arwen is off to the Grey Havens when a vision shows her that if she stays, she'll give birth to Jesus. I mean, yeah, what other interpretation am I supposed to take from this imagery? Hey, stick it out, your kid could become Christ in a series that already has a Christ.
You saw there was a child.
Nothing is said.
Except I exclusively do trilogies. She decides to stay behind as Gandalf and Pippin make it to Mount Wedding Cake, where the steward King Denethor, played by John Noble, has just discovered the death of his son, Boromir.
Perhaps you come to tell me why my son is dead.
Certainly, he did it. Pippin feels guilt about Boromir dying for him, so he pledges his allegiance to the king. Something Merry does for Theoden in the extended cut, which is another scene I feel should have been left in, like it shows them both stepping up.
Word has reached my ears of this Aragorn, and I tell you now, I will not bow to this ranger from the north.
While Denethor is acted well, there needed to be a bit more humanity to him. Like, I get it, he's an asshole, but the book showed he's also human. Like, I love the scene of him smiling while Pippin pledges his allegiance, getting some of the words wrong. He could be pissed off and say, no, you're doing it wrong, what's even the point of this? But it shows a more sympathetic side. Most of the time, though, he is the other way. He's always grumbling or screaming. Even the way he eats is douchey. I'm shocked they didn't show he had his own Palantir with Sauron manipulating him into his madness. Similar to how Wormtongue manipulated Theoden.
I have seen more than you know. For all your subtleties, you have not wisdom.
Everyone says he's supposed to be a Shakespearean tragedy, but if you don't see any decency from him, I don't see what's supposed to be tragic about him.
It's so quiet.
It's the deep breath before the plunge.
As they're told about the impending armies getting closer to Gondor. Fun note, this is how Jackson dresses every time he directs. Sam and Frodo get to meet as Morgo, protected by a statue of that weird thing from Spawn. Ooh, a skybeam. Nobody recreate that for the next 10 years. The most powerful of the 9 riders, known as the Witch King, leads his army, which despite sensing the ring in the Shire when it's so close, somehow that just turns off when it's at his front door. And I know I already made a Weinstein joke, but this is totally him, right? If he was Sloth from Goonies.
Fear. The city is ripe with it.
That's what Weinstein would say just walking through LA.
Send forth all legions.
What of the wizard?
I will break him.
In another scene we'll weirdly cut out.
Hey, at least you got a death sequence in the original cut.
Like many moments in this trilogy, a scene that wasn't a big deal in the books suddenly becomes one of the coolest scenes in the movie, as Gondor lights the beacon for aid. Did I mention of all the Oscar nominations this film got, best cinematography was not one of them? Because, you know, blurry Maguire and horse asses is a lot more epic.
The beacons are lit! Gun knuckles for aid!
And Rohan will answer.
With a resounding no. Light the beacon of what have you done for us lately? Light the beacon of I came to your kids' birthday parties. Light the beacon of you got them a Furby as a present, that is so 1999. Yeah, maybe they should have done carrier pigeons. Faramir and his army are overpowered by orcs, but thankfully Gandalf not from the scene where he arrives at the city. Yeah, he just randomly brings Pippin to fight Nazgul with him all the time. Saves the day. Meanwhile, Gollum tricks Frodo into thinking Sam ate the last of the bread and he's secretly trying to take the ring. Yeah, it's a little forced, but it does lead to some good acting.
He's poisoned you against me. Go home.
The only thing I don't understand is you could have just had Sam show up later to save the day, like he's not gonna let Frodo down even when he tells him to leave. But instead they show later he finds the bread that Gollum threw out, like that's what inspired him to go back. What's the point? What a bear surprise if we didn't have that scene. What, was he just like, so I didn't eat it?
I do not think we should so lightly abandon the outer defenses. I will not yield the river in Pelennor unfought.
Things aren't much better in Minas Tirith as Denethor sends Faramir on a suicide mission to take back what the orcs have taken.
Faramir, do not throw away your life so rashly.
At least take Pippin with you.
Where does my allegiance lie if not here?
Father's will has turned to madness.
Well, you could always bring your staff. That seemed to scare him away. No, I'm just a conjurer of cheap tricks. You guys do the real work.
Can you sing, Master Hobbit?
Well enough for my own people, but we have no songs for great halls and evil times.
Our songs are mainly drunken slurs about how our piss misses the toilet. Again, during a time when people thought Two Towers was saying it was pro the Iraq War, this movie goes big time out of its way to make it clear that it's not pro-war and more pro-self-defense. Even if I swear it sounds a little like a pop song from time to time.
Through shadow, through the edge of night.
How can a song with no auto-tuning sound like there's auto-tuning? Meanwhile, the armies of Rohan make camp while Aragorn notices a very threatening path.
It is the road to the Dimhold. None who venture there ever return. That mountain is evil.
Perfect place to camp in front of! Eowyn and Merry, though, are both upset that they're not allowed to fight.
You should not encourage him.
Why should Merry be left behind? He has as much cause to go to war as you. Why can he not fight for those he loves?
I guess you're right. Could be worse. It could be a chick. But it looks like a stranger approaches them.
I come on behalf of one whom I love.
We've had this talk. I like ladies.
Arwen is dying.
So yeah, this gets weird. Nobody really knows what this random connection between Arwen and the ring is. It looks like she's sick and somehow destroying the ring will save her, I guess?
Arwen's life is now tied to the fate of the ring.
Now, you could make the argument that referring to her staying behind will eventually lead to her death, like it'll lead to everybody's death if the ring isn't destroyed. But if so, why isn't she there giving the sword? Why do they keep making it look like she's not well and she's on her deathbed? For a character that surprisingly did not feel shoehorned in before, she definitely does with this one. With that said, I love it when Elrond shows Aragorn's sword isn't a limp dick anymore and he seems to crazily get off on it.
The power of this sword can summon to him an army more deadly than any that walks this earth.
I'm so hard, I'm so hard, I'm so hard, I'm so hard! Aragorn decides to convince the army of the dead to join their battle, but not before he brushes off these fangirls.
Why have you come?
Do you not know?
I cannot give you what you seek.
It's not you, it's really you. Her father isn't much better.
What other duty would you have me do, my lord?
I would have you smile again.
Come on, smile more! You're so pretty when you smile! Okay, I know what he's really trying to say, and it is noble, it's just unfortunate wording. At least he doesn't end with,
well, see you later.
Eowyn manages to take matters into her own hands, though.
Ride with me.
Yes, my lord. Oh, you're such an idiot. Meanwhile, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli go into the haunted house, where we get a pretty inventive ghost effect.
The way is shut. It was made by those who are dead.
You can usually see through ghosts in movies, but seeing all the way to their gum lines? That's pretty unique.
I summon you to fulfill your oath. That line was broken. It has been remade.
The minute my foot connected with your ass! Denethor panics when he sees not only his other son has fallen, but basically all of Mordor is at his door.
Flee! Flee for your life!
Yuck! Yuck!
Prepare for battle!
Oh, on second thought, flee! Flee! He was right the first time, flee! The battle for Minas Tirith begins, as even though it goes on for about 45 minutes, it is never boring. It has a good variety of attacks and enemies and effects and situations that keep building upon each other, and at the heart of it is people we really want to see win the day. He really did that. Ian McKellen's stunt double really did all those moves. Frodo, meanwhile, is having his own troubles as Gollum has led him to the lair of Shelob, a giant spider. I should point out a lot of the buzz around Shelob wasn't that high because of the trailer we saw. You see, for a while, this was all we saw of her. From that perspective, she looks like a Zelda minion, nothing really that threatening. But luckily the effects team put just as much effort into these effects as they did with the other effects, as I'm not afraid of spiders, but I am definitely afraid of this scene. I am not joking when I say the audience reaction every time I saw this was, oh my god, 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 oh my god. Frodo finally puts together Gollum betrayed him as, big surprise, he tries to take the ring. Into the pit of vagueness from Superman 2. The spider does end up getting him though, just as Sam returns to fight her off.
Let him go, you filth.
I can't believe I had the weirdest boner for you and James and the Giant Peach. Tell me if you've heard this in these films. Somebody is thought to be dead but isn't. Now don't freak out, Elijah Wood actually does sleep with his eyes open. I mean, if this was your environment, wouldn't you? But some orcs pick Frodo up, clarifying he's only stunned.
The scum will be awake in a couple of hours. Then he'll wish he'd never been born.
Well, I'm the only one who's supposed to make him think that. The battle in Gondor isn't going much better.
No matter what comes through that gate, you will stand your ground.
But thankfully, Rohan arrives to give assistance.
Forth and fear no darkness. Right now!
Am I the only one, by the way, who wanted to see this happen? Asshole. Don't worry though, Aramir gets another one mid-ride. Seriously, who's handing him that? And I think it's scientifically proven that if some part of you doesn't go hard while watching this, you're clinically dead.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Even if upon rewatch, Mary Mannequin is a little distracting, how did I never notice that before?
Bring wood and oil.
Meanwhile, Denethor goes crazy and tries to burn both him and Faramir, who is still alive.
Set a fire in our flesh.
Are you sure we get to burn our boss alive?
Seems too good to be true.
How do we know this isn't a test so we can fire the ones who do and give a raise to the ones that don't? Gandalf stops him as Pippin saves Faramir. Again, good redemption seeing how Boromir saved him. But Gandalf's like, I am done with this other guy. Again, this movie has a talent of taking that looks pretty funny to suddenly that is the most awesome thing I've ever seen. Speaking of which, the Oliphants arrive. Was it really the most imaginative name Tolkien could come up with? And they end up being hands down the best part of the movie. Fudgesicles.
We found the line!
As soon as these things popped up, I thought to myself, are we really so lucky to live in a time where we get to see this? Giant Hortons in war paint squashing an army like little green soldiers. This dude knows he's in the best scene in the movie. I love this guy. He's like, you brought a horse to a 10-story elephant fight! A moment of silence for my favorite throwaway character. Things aren't looking good for Gandalf and Pippin either.
I didn't think it would end this way.
End? No, the journey doesn't end here.
They'll torture us, burn us, cut off anything that won't kill us, but still results in a huge amount of pain. What's your point? My point is I'm afraid, Pippin. From this moment on, you could count the applause moments audiences gave right on cue, right at the point they're supposed to. There's Eowyn beheading the Witch King's ride, protecting her father. Okay, I'll say it. That's what Sauron show looked like. There's the perfectly timed arrival of Aragorn hopping out of the orc ships, pulling off the same trick Gandalf did from Two Towers, almost forgetting he was even in the movie. There's Eowyn's great comeback when the Witch King says no man can defeat him.
I am no man.
You see? Everything, that's how it's done. And of course there's Legolas literally taking out an Oliphant all by himself. Which is so goddamn silly, but it guides you through its goofy reasoning just enough where you're able to go, screw it, that's just badass.
That still only counts as one.
Even the lame Gimli line sounds cool after all that. Eowyn has to say goodbye to her father, though, who in the book had a bit more tragedy as he didn't know it was Eowyn who saved him, but I do like this callback to the previous film.
I know your face.
Grima, you do care.
I'm going to save you.
You already did.
Tell your sister you were right. Yeah, who isn't gonna think back to that line? Aragorn releases the ghost as he gave his word he would. He couldn't have originally made the deal to save Middle-earth and not just Gondor. While in Mordor, Sam makes his way to free Frodo. Maybe a little too easily. Okay, the orcs and Uruk-hai really don't like each other, I guess.
Give it to me.
Sam's hesitance to hand the ring over is a great way to emphasize again, really nobody is free from its corruption. It's a brief moment, but it's so effective because it's with this character.
Come on, Mr. Frodo. You can't go walking through Mordor and not but your skin.
Okay, movie, now you're trying to make people like me tell jokes. Aragorn suggests one last push at the gates of Mordor to allow Frodo one last chance to destroy the ring. This leads to another scene that should have been left in with the mouth of Sauron, not just because this thing looks really awesome, but because they give the impression to them that Frodo is dead.
Know that he suffered greatly at the hands of his host.
Which gives this line an incredibly different meaning.
For Frodo.
In the original cut, it's like, yeah, we know, that's why we're here. But in the extended version, they think they've lost, so they're doing one last charge in Frodo's memory. It changes a lot. But you know, if an elf and a dwarf can learn to get along.
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
You know any? Sam tries to give Frodo the strength to carry on as he continues to fade.
Do you remember the Shire, Mr. Frodo? The orchards will be in blossom. And they'll be sowing the summer barley in the lower fields.
And you'll be in your summer dress.
No veil between me and the way of fire. Naked in the dark.
No need to bring up last Tuesday. Frodo does end up making it to the fires of Mount Doom. However, the power of the ring finally consumes him.
The ring is mine.
To ask you, Sam, will you marry... Ow! Gollum attacks and bites Frodo's finger off, and as they fight, they both get tossed over. There is something funny for as much as people were won over by Gollum, his exit is like... And he's basically Photoshop erased from the movie. No seeing what his kids look like in the future.
Give me your hand!
No, the one with more fingers! Sam saves Frodo, the ring is destroyed, Sauron goes boom, the war is over, but our two leads are left behind.
I can see the shine. Rosy cotton dancing. If ever I was to marry someone, it would have been her.
Frodo's like, really? Really? Huh. Really? And okay, this is where the onslaught of endings start, and as a rule, I think you're allowed one fake out. When this fade to black happened, some people actually started applauding, like that might be it. But then we fade back and see the eagle save them. Okay, that's alright. But then we get the moment that, let's face it, has been memed to death at this point.
Gandalf?
So I died. Because as far as I know, you're still dead. Oh, you're all dead! Wonderful! We were all a disappointment! What the hell were we thinking, walking the ring into Mordor? We had eagles right there! And yeah, Gandalf's laugh in slow-mo is basically the devil's laugh, right? We're given, let's be honest, a curtain call for most of these characters as we get another fake-out blackout. Again, people started applauding, but the film kept going.
Really? Still doing this?
Seeing Aragorn get crowned king, these two become an item off screen, and reunite with Arwen. Beautiful. This is still your horrific future, but beautiful. I will say though, this scene is so good, I'm surprised it wasn't in the book.
You bow to no one.
As your new rulers, we order all your shins to be chopped at the knees. We're gonna be height communists. We get yet another fake out where audiences started applauding as we cut to a map. But it turns out that was just leading us to the Shire where we see how the hobbits live out the rest of their days.
Seriously? Oh, for God's sake.
Frodo is still like, really? Rosie Cotton, a woman?
How do you pick up the threads of an old life? How do you go on?
I don't know, you're doing a pretty good job right now. Frodo finds the wound from the knife is still with him, and even after finishing his book,
The Lord of the Rings.
That's the name of the movie. He decides to go with the elves and Bilbo to the Grey Havens.
You can't leave. The last pages are for you, Sam.
And so is this awkward as hell smile. A smile that says, it's not a cult. It's not a cult. We we get yet another fake out audiences accidentally applaud at.
I'll put my coat on. I'm totally out of here.
And finally, the story ends with Sam and his family.
I'm back.
Oh, I wish I was gay. So, okay, all these endings by themselves are fine, especially for wrapping up 3 very long movies. It's just the way they're paced together that doesn't work. I think that's why it bothered so many people, but it was nowhere near ruining the movie for anyone. Because, yeah, Return of the King is still easily the best one. Of course there's issues like with any of them, like I would have enjoyed if Aragorn had a few more kingly things to do to build up his role. And sure, there's little tidbits in the extended edition that should have been left in. But this movie is amazing and a fantastic way to end an epic trilogy. It opened the doors for more movies to be shot back to back, yet as far as I know, the world of Tolkien is the only mainstream universe to do 3 movies at the same time. It's an amazing gamble with amazing talent that thankfully led to an amazing achievement. And that's it. That's the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Really? It's over?
Oh.
Wait! We forgot to review The Hobbit!
Oh, we can't end the month without talking about...
Hey, where'd he go?
Hey, where'd the movie go?
I'm Jim. Good for you.
Oh, that's what's back here.
Critic! Don't do it!
But the trilogy is too good and we can't have this destroy it!
But think of it... Actually, I got nothing.
Think of the suffering. People love to see you suffer. For suffering, for comedy, for cringe!
All right.
Salted pork.